Hello and welcome back to another episode of NFL Picks. I'm alongside Newsday's NFL pick columnist, Joe Manniello. Joe, how you doing this week?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We both went 4-3-1. We had our first push with the Chiefs -3 this past week. So that brings me to 29-34-1 and you to 32-31-1.
Yeah, it's also the first time we ever had, we taped this segment on Wednesday night, and the first time we had a game end right before the segment, so that was kind of weird.
Exactly. That very bizarre, but hey, that's 2020, I guess. So exactly. Let's get into it for week 13. We'll start with the locals, the Raiders and the Jets. Raiders are favored by 9. Who do you like, Joe?
The last 2 weeks I went off my season-long plan of not taking the Jets, and I took them the last 2 weeks. They worked against the Chargers. It didn't work against the Dolphins, and I think I'm pretty much done with the Jets this year. 0-11, they're definitely going 0-16, as we all kind of said a few weeks ago. I love the Raiders in this game. 9 points seems like a lot, but if you look at the circumstances, there's so many reasons to take the Raiders here. Last week they lost 43-6 at Atlanta. I think that they said it was the worst loss in Gruden's Raiders career since he rejoined them. And you have to think it's one of the worst losses of his career, 37 points against a 3-win Atlanta team. So if I'm on the Raiders, I can't wait to go play the Jets. I think they take it out on them. Also, there's a little bit of a revenge factor. Last year, the Jets crushed the Raiders at MetLife, like, I don't know, was it 30-3 or something like that? It was a crazy game.
Right.
And they blew them out. So I'm sure the Raiders, I'm sure some players remember that. And I don't think you need extra motivation against the Jets. You don't want to be the team that loses to an 0-11 team. So I love the Raiders here. 9 points, I'd probably give them 14, which sounds crazy, but there's no home field advantage in 2020, and the Jets are just done. I don't see this game being close, so I'll lay the 9 points.
I'm with you 100%. I don't see a reason the Raiders don't win this game by double digits. I know usually a West Coast team coming to the East Coast scares me a little bit, but the Raiders are coming off a bad loss. The Jets offense just looks completely inept with Sam Darnold at quarterback, and with maybe Adam Gase calling the plays. Who the hell knows who's calling the plays anymore? Not that it matters anyway, but the Raiders they're the better coached team. They have more talent. They're coming off a bad loss. They're fighting for their playoff lives. I love the Raiders this week as well. I think they cover this one easy. So give me Raiders -9 also.
Yep.
As for the Giants, they're heading on the road to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 7.5. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, same thing with the Jets. I love the Seahawks here. I don't think it's going to be a good week for the locals. But good news for the Giants. I think they're going to lose this week, but I think they're still going to be in first place. I think the NFC East, all 4 teams are going to lose. Washington's playing the Steelers. Cowboys are playing the Ravens, and the Eagles are playing the Packers. So they all have tough opponents. So I think the NFC East goes over 4, and the Giants stay in first place. If Daniel Jones was playing, the spread would probably be a little bit lower, maybe, I don't know, 6-ish. So I think give the Giants a shot, but Colt McCoy, he's just not the right guy to play catch up against his team. Seahawks, a couple of weeks ago, remember the Arizona Thursday night game? They were 6-3. They had lost a couple of games,
right? And
people were saying, we both picked Arizona in that game, and Kyler Murray didn't look right. I think he hurt his shoulder early in the game, but Seattle wasn't looking too great, and now they beat Arizona, and then this week they beat Philadelphia. So think about it. They have Philadelphia Monday night, which is a mess. Then they get the Giants without Daniel Jones, and next week they host the Jets. I mean, this is the best 3-game stretch I've ever seen.
Yep,
it's like a poker player getting winning every hand on the river. So I think the Seahawks are going to capitalize on this. They're not going to let up. They're in first place in the NFC West. The Rams right on the trail. So I think that this is a bad spot for the Giants. Defense has played really well, but I don't see them containing Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf for 4 quarters. I think if they get out to an early lead, 10-0, 14-3. Giants can't be running the ball. I don't see Colt McCoy hanging with Russell Wilson, so I'll easily lay 7. I think I don't think it's a blowout because the Giants have played well on defense, and I don't think Joe Judge. I think the team will be prepared. Joe Judge will have them ready, but 7.5 seems kind of small almost. I'd probably lay 10. So I like the Seahawks to win like a 27-14 kind of game, 27-13. I think the Seahawks just too much.
Yeah, I'm with you again. I'm taking the Seahawks as well, and I just can't trust Colt McCoy in this game. If Jones was playing, I'd probably feel a little bit differently, but as you said, I just don't see a way this offense is able to keep pace with Seattle. I know you got to give credit to the Giants defense. They've stepped up this year. I think they've played well, but against one of the MVP candidates, maybe not so much after the last couple of weeks, but still in the mix for sure. And that offense can put up points. They have two really, really good wide receivers, and I think it's going to be a long day for the Giants. Give me the Seahawks, like, I don't know, maybe 30-10, something like that. They win by 20 points at home. But once Jones gets back healthy, I think, the Giants get back to their ways, and we'll take the NFC East. But I think it's a tough week as well. So I'll take the Seahawks -7.5. As for the game of the week, we are doing the Browns and the Titans. Titans are favored by 5.5. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, it's a good game. Both teams 8-3, right there in the probably playing for a home game in the AFC. Although the Browns aren't going to win the division, so they're definitely going to be a wild card. But
right.
8-3, it's a big game for both teams. So I think it's a toss-up game. I'm going to go with the Browns. I think 5.5 is too many points. I think it's a field goal game either way. I think the Browns could win the game. I think it's a great matchup. Both teams have great running backs, Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, and they also have Kareem Hunt. And the Browns are getting Myles Garrett back. I'm pretty sure he's returning after a 2-game absence. I think it'll be a close game. I think I could see like a 24-24 game in the fourth quarter, and one team wins on a late field goal, something like that, 27-24. Not too high scoring, maybe even lower, 24-21. So I'll take the points. I think the Titans are a weird team. They crushed the Colts, and then they lost at the Bengals. They're a weird team, so they're up and down. And I think the Browns. It's amazing. Last year I picked them to win the Super Bowl like a nut, and this year they're going to make the playoffs. I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. So I don't think the Browns are like, this is the best year and the first time they've had 8 wins, a winning season in 13 years or something like that, which is crazy.
Right.
But I think they have a good foundation there. The coach is doing a good job, Stefanski. And I think it's going to be a close game. So I think 5.5 is just too many points. I like a field goal game here, no blowout. So I'll take the 5.5.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Titans in this game. I think they're able to cover the 5.5 points. For me with the Browns, the last 3 weeks they've played some pretty close. They've won, but they've played close games against the Texans. They won 10-7. Against the Eagles, they won 22-17. And they barely scraped by the Jaguars this past week. Maybe I'm setting myself up for a letdown right here, but I think their record isn't necessarily indicative of how they've been playing the last few weeks. So you can probably make the same case for the argument. I don't know. I don't feel too confident one way or the other in this. I'm leaning Titans though, so I guess I'll go Titans -5.5. I think they win this by about a touchdown, maybe like 27-20 kind of a game. Overall, I think the Titans are better coached and have the better quarterback right now, and I think that's going to be enough to get them to win this game by a touchdown.
Yeah, two similar teams. They're not dominant teams, so hard to figure them out.
Absolutely. So how about a best bet? Who's someone you're confident in?
Yeah, I like the Raiders and the Seahawks, so we're not doing that, obviously. But those are my best bets. There's one game that I've been doing the NFL picks column at Newsday. This is my 6th year, so when you pick every game every week, you start to you remember things. You remember certain things, like Ben Roethlisberger owns the Browns. Tom Brady never loses to the Bills when he was with the Patriots. And something I realized over the last 3 years, Sean McVay, he owns the Cardinals 6-0 in his career against Arizona. Someone can say, yeah, but the first 2 years they didn't have Kyler Murray. That's true. But that kind of trend is just too hard for me to ignore. And I went back and looked, and I'm not 100% sure on this. I should have double-checked it. But I went back since he took over. After a loss, they're 10-4 in his career. So wow. I like McVay. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league, and I like the idea of him off a loss, 10-4. Last week they had a bad loss to the 49ers. They didn't get blown out, but they had a sloppy game, a lot of turnovers. So I think they'll rebound this week. The Cardinals, they were picking mine to make the playoffs before the year, and I thought they were going to make it after the Hail Murray against the Bills. But something's not right with Murray. He's only rushed for like 40 yards, I think, in the last couple of weeks. They lost to the Seahawks and the Patriots. Two good teams. Though the Patriots are just okay. But something's not right with them, the offense. So I think the Rams, this is a bad spot for them. The Rams off a loss to the Niners. I think they come out super focused. And with Seattle, probably beating the Giants, I think they'll need to win to stay a game behind the Seahawks in the NFC West. So I like the trend of McVay beating Arizona to continue. I don't think it'll be a blowout. The NFC, these games are always close. So maybe like a 27-20 kind of game. So I'll lay the 3 points.
Okay, I like that pick. I think that's a good pick, and you make a good case for it. I'm going a different direction. I'm going to go with the Saints -2.5 over the Falcons. They beat up on them pretty good a couple of weeks ago, and I know this isn't the same kind of team with Hill at quarterback. I understand that, but essentially only needing a field goal to cover, I think is enough. They're a really solid team. The Falcons they're weird. I never know how to bet against the Falcons, but or bet for the Falcons rather, I guess. But I think the Saints do enough to win this game, and if I think they'll win, I guess I'll take them to cover the 2.5 as well. This one's different. They're on the road this time. That doesn't scare me as much. Again, in 2020, the home field advantage isn't really one thing or another, and it is in a dome, and the Saints usually play in a dome. So I'm pretty confident in the Saints this week, so I'll take them minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints too in the paper. I was originally thinking about taking Atlanta because this is like this will be the Super Bowl. If they can beat the Saints, but the fact that there's only one bye this year in the NFC and AFC, I think the Saints will. They're not going to let up against Atlanta. And it's only 2.5, so it's not like they have to blow them out. So I think they'll win and cover.
Exactly. How about an upset pick or underdog that you like?
Yeah, there's not too many this week. There's a lot of big spreads this week. Maybe four. I think 4 double-digit spreads. So those are always tricky. So I'm gonna stay away from those games. But I narrowed it down to 2. 49ers at home in quotes in Arizona. At home, they're playing in Arizona. If anyone doesn't know,
right?
They're getting 2.5. I think against the Bills. So I thought about taking them, but the Bills are a good team. I think that's a 3-point game either way. So knowing my luck, I'll take the 2.5 and lose by 3. So I'm gonna go with another team here, a team that I said I was not gonna pick anymore after I took them 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and they laid an egg. I took them last week against the Seahawks, and they stunk. But I'm gonna take them again here. The Eagles plus I think it's 8.5 at Green Bay. Just too many points. I think the look-ahead line might have been 6 or 6.5, and it went up to almost 3 points after the Monday night game. The Packers are obviously the better team, but they're not the Chiefs or the Steelers. They're not a dominant team. They don't blow teams out. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, they needed like a late stop to beat the Jaguars. They were only up 24-20. They lost at home to the Vikings. I just don't think they crushed the Bears the other night, but Rodgers owns the Bears, so I don't make too much out of that. I just think it's a close game. 4 to 7 points kind of game. I think that I always say, I'm saying it for the last couple of weeks, the Eagles' desperation is going to kick in, but it hasn't translated on the field. I don't know what's going on with them, if it's more Peterson or Wentz or I don't know. But I think they can run the ball, keep Rodgers on the sideline just enough to keep this a close game and maybe lose the same way the Jaguars lost 24-20 kind of game. I don't think the Packers are going to blow them out. And 8.5 points, it feels like a lot. I mean, the Eagles, they do have the talent. Obviously, it doesn't look like it, but I think they're going to keep this one close enough to cover the big spread.
Okay, yeah, that number scares me a little bit. I'm going to stay away from that one. I'm going with the Lions plus 3 over the Bears. I'm going with the coach or the team who just fired their coach having a little bit of a little extra juice, and with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback for the Bears, I know he had a big win earlier in the year against the Lions. I don't think they replicate this time, though. And not only do I think the Lions cover, I think they could win this game as well against the Bears. That team's falling apart. I think it's going to get ugly for them. So give me the Lions plus 3 as my underdog or upset pick.
Yeah, that's one of the worst games of the year. Definitely the week. And I think I even wrote week 1, like, I don't want to pick this game. And I picked the Lions, of course. I picked the Lions, and then, of course, they blew it, like you said, to Trubisky.
Right.
But I agree with that theory usually if the team responds. But my first thought was when they fired Patricia, I was like, it's not even going to matter. They're out of it. But I don't know. Maybe players do, like, they're auditioning for, like, the next regime. So I can see that logic. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm taking the Lions, too.
Absolutely. So let's do a quick run through. Both Joe and I are on the Raiders -9 over the Jets. We are also both on the Seahawks -7.5. For our game of the week, the Browns and the Titans, I am going with the Titans -5.5. Joe is going with the Browns plus 5.5. My best bet, the Saints -2.5 over the Falcons. Joe is going with the Rams -3 over Arizona. I am going for my upset pick with the Lions plus 3 over the Bears, and Joe is going with the Eagles plus 8.5 against the Packers. Another week in the books, Joe. Thank you so much for coming on with me, and we'll talk again real soon.
All right, Matt. Thanks so much.